What's up, YouTube? How you's doing? YouTube! Alright. So, I'm packing up all my gear right now. Look at this. We got Zeiss on Zeiss, Sony on Panasonic, man. Look at all these cameras. So, I'm packing all that stuff up. We have the Jew and Crane right next to me. My baby. Mwah. I love this thing. It's so much fun. It's so cool. It's so awesome. It's so something I really want and wanted. So yeah. Cinematic Effect. Thanks for loving my comment. Dude, thanks for leaving an awesome comment, dude. Seriously. Thanks for leaving an awesome comment. It's fire, dude. Yeah. So, okay. Guys, so this week was really, really cool. I filmed with Logan Paul. I filmed with Snake Bites TV. I filmed with Adapt. Phase Adapt, I think that's his name. That's his channel. So I filmed with some crazy, like, big YouTubers this week for some awesome content. They're already posted on their channels, so if you can check out Logan Paul's channel, you can check out Phase Adapt. I think that's his name. Yeah, Adapt. Just type in Adapt on YouTube. You'll find them. Look for the video that's titled "What's in the Box Challenge," like reptiles. You'll probably see me in a few of those vlogs. I was there. I was shooting it. So, yeah, check it out. Logan Paul's channel and on Adapt's channel. So, check it out. Bah! Fire. High-flying photography. What do you think about the handles so you can have arms to spread out? For the Jew and Crane, I think it's an awesome thing to have, but I already have a gimbal that has the dual handle system. I already have the handles, so I don't need to buy handles for this thing because I already have a gimbal that has a dual handle system. It's a Came TV Argo. So yeah, man, I'm excited. Today's a good day. This week has been a good week. It's only what, Monday? It's already been a good week. So right now, I'm just packing up some stuff because I'm going to go back to shooting some YouTubers tomorrow. So, yeah. Edward Drobovich. Ooh, sounds like a Russian name. That's awesome, man. Your tutorials with the crane are best. I tried today and my footage is amazing. Thanks, man. Dude, you are welcome. Look at that. I got to start vlogging. I got a lot of energy inside of me, so I got to boom, put it out, you know? So, a little bit hyper. It's a good time to have, it's a good time of day to have a live stream, all right? Yeah, cool. Any questions, guys, while I'm packing up? You know, this will take me a while, so I just thought maybe I could stream it so I can, you know, use my time wisely, talk to you guys while I, you know, pack up my stuff. Let me see if I can brighten up the color here. It's pretty annoying how dark it is. Halvin Wolf, bro, thank you so much for the super chat, dude. You are the man. One of my biggest supporters, Halvin Wolf. Check his channel out. Check him out on Instagram. This guy is the man. Dude, this guy is a photographer like no other. Check it out. Photography happens to be my weak spot, but it happens to be Halvin's strong spot. So check out his Instagram. Definitely check him out for photography tips. Ask him questions because I'm sure he knows his stuff when it comes down to photography especially. So check it out. Alright, see if I can brighten my stuff up. Okay, that should be better. You ever shoot with the Sony Alpha A7S II? No, I don't, because I have the Sony Alpha A7 I. I'm waiting for the A7S III to come out. So that's what I'm working for. or that's what I'm waiting for. I'm kind of working for it. I'm raising money for it, but but here's my camera lineup: A7R2, A7S, and we have the GH4 back here as well. GH4. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, so, all right, cool. Hey, thanks for the show. I'm going to shoot some whales up here. Awesome job. Keep them coming, Jim. Thanks, man. Does my GladCam counterweight have to be heavier or just the same weight as my camera? It depends how far down your boom post is. So keep working. It's a trial and error process, but let me know. Techno Extreme, talk to us about exposure, shutter speeds, and ISOs that use outside to ensure smooth video on the crane. I have A6500 and I have trouble finding the best shutter speed ISO combo. All right, shutter speed and frame rate, that's easy. So if you're shooting at 60 frames per second, you want to double that when it comes down to shutter speed to get smoother footage. So I would shoot at 60 frames per second at 1/120th shutter speed. ISO varies on the kind of lens you are using, but you have to know what your camera's base ISO is. Anything above the base ISO will add slightly more noise. So for example, the A7S base ISO is 3200. That's the natural native ISO, which means there's no noise at 3200. As soon as I add to that 3200, you will start seeing some noise. Well, you probably won't see it with the human eye, but noise will start being apparent. So 3200 going up. With the A7R2, it's 800 base ISO, so everything above 800, there will be artificial noise and artificial light coming in. So I hope that answered your question about ISO. What else did you ask? So yeah, exposure, again, it depends on how harsh the daylight. I can't give you an exact exposure. However, when you are in a dark environment and you're like lighting up a scene with a candlelight, I like to change my exposure value down to, let's say, +3. That way the exposure gauge doesn't give you like a improper reading to the point where it thinks that everything is black and dark, but you don't want everything to be lit. You just want the light from the candlelight. So the camera is going to probably think, oh, everything is underexposed, but it's not, because you're just focused on that candlelight. So the exposure adjustment is very important so it doesn't mislead you into thinking that you're shooting an underexposed shot. All right, so that's my advice when it comes down to that. I hope the sound is coming through okay. I'm looking at the sound right now. It looks like it's decent. But here we have the Sony A7R2 paired with the Zeiss 16-35. I'm packing it up into my signature 13 bag from Think Tank Photo. This thing carries my Jewin crane, my 16-35. It's going to carry my 24-70 Zeiss, and it's going to carry my Jewin crane. Right now, however, I am looking for my lens caps, which is in my other Think Tank Photo bag. This one holds my A7S, Rokin on 14mm, and my GH4. So I'm looking for some lens caps here. Any more questions, guys? I don't see any questions coming through. I'm a little worried now. Huh? What's going on with that? Let me know. Let me know. Alright, so we're going to take off the lens of this camera. I'm going to put it on or in my other bag. What am I doing? What am I doing? All right, this goes in here. So I have this Canon 28-135, and the reason why I didn't sell it is because it's a great like mid-range to telephoto lens, and it produces really nice images. Actually, it's not an expensive lens, and it gives me actually really nice images. So I decided to keep it and not sell it when I sold my 5D Mark II. And there's the Sony 24-70. Techno Extreme is asking, so exposure compensation of +3 when shooting indoors and very dark concert. Yes, simply because if you're shooting in a dark environment, however, you do have some light and you do see some subjects, your camera's going to think that everything is underexposed. So make it think that, so bump up the exposure value plus 3 points. Again, you might have to mess around with it again depending on how dark the environment is. But for me, when I was filming in candlelight settings, I bumped it up to plus 3. That way the camera doesn't give me a really improper reading of exposure. And it kind of misleads you if you don't have that mode dial set up properly. Halvin Wolf says, dude, I want to save up for one of those bags. They are super stylish. Yeah, dude, they are. They're really awesome. Think Tank Photo is probably my favorite company when it comes down to bags for cameras. Like, they're pretty sick. What's your next passion project? Passion project? What do you mean? High flying photography. Do you know the ETA and the Sony Alpha A7 IIIs? Yeah, so they're supposed to be announcing them sometime in what was August, September, October, between October and November. By Christmas time, they're supposed to have the first A7 III come out. And then I think by the first quarter in 2018, the A7S Mark IIIs are supposed to be coming out. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. It's going to be a very exciting end of the year and start to the new year when it comes down to camera gear. James Williams, you have a suggestion for camera settings on my Mavic Pro for my shots. I'm going to take it today over water. Dude, I can't give you, you need to give me less of a vague answer and more of a solid, like, okay, this is the lighting condition, this is how I'm flying. Like, I can't just give you basic settings. It doesn't work like that. It all depends on what type of environment you're shooting in. Edward, I shoot at shutter priority mode, so that exposure is controlled automatically. It works good. Is that good or bad? Yeah, so shutter priority, which means that exposure is controlled, so the f-stop is automatically controlled. I feel like it's good only to the, like, if you're changing from outside to inside, shutter priority definitely works. You just have to keep an eye on ISO, make sure you don't have it too low, make sure you don't have it too high. If your camera can handle it, again, it depends on how dark the situation is, how bright the situation is, but yes, shutter priority is definitely a great option to use on your camera. And if you have, you know, obviously a camera like this, not a camera like this, but a lens like this is kind of old for that, but with the new Zeiss lenses and all the other newer lenses that are coming out that have autofocus, auto this, auto that, they can handle automatic aperture really nicely, and the way the iris opens and closes is very nice and smooth. So yes, definitely use that if you're having issues with exposure. I mean, I use it all the time on my Zeiss lenses, and I love the I love the quality that comes off of it. Hang on one second, guys. I'm missing a lens cap here somewhere. Not good. Not good. Why am I missing a lens cap? Don't you just hate it when that happens? Alright, so this camera's going away. Next question. Oh, Asar. Congrats on 19K. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're going to hit 20K by early September. So if we keep going on the same track. So I'm excited. 20K, baby. 20K. And then we're going to hit 50K. That's the next milestone after that. So, yeah, I'm very excited. A project that you're passionate about. So what's the next time I'm going to shoot a project that I'm really passionate about? I would say in about 2 weeks. I can't talk about it right now, but as soon as I start shooting for it, I will let you know. What can we expect on the A7S Mark III, perhaps that is better than the current version? This is what I'm hoping for, and this is because Sony tends to stay ahead of the technology game. So I'm expecting, obviously, internal 4K, no overheating issues, Slightly better low light capability, even though the A7S Mark I does phenomenal. Honestly, they don't even have to worry about it. It's low light is just phenomenal in the A7 I. But in-body stabilization, they already have that on the A7S Mark II, so maybe they can improve the in-body stabilization. Go to 10-bit internal recording, 4K at 60 frames per second would be awesome. Higher, more autofocus points. I think right now the current one is 189, something like that. Maybe bump it up to in the 200s, mid 200s, and bump up the megapixel count. So I'm assuming that the price of this camera is going to be around $2,900. That's what I'm assuming. Ragnar BE is asking, you know SOTC? I have no idea what that is, bro. You're going to have to enlighten me. Let me know what that is. I just don't know what happened to my lens cap. This is no bueno. No bueno, guys. Do you guys know where my lens cap went? Shadow of the Colossus. I have no idea what Shadow of the Colossus is. I have no idea, guys. Excuse me, I have to look back here. Nope, no lens cap there. This is not good. Not good. It's alright. I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping, guys. Oh, I found them. I found the lens caps. Guys, boom. Alright. Any more questions, my fellow YouTubers? I'm on a roll today. I'm on a roll today. I'm in a good mood. Boom. Lens cap. Lens cap. We're protected. High Flying Photography says, I think I will wait for the A7S Mark III to come out. Hopefully the Mark II will drop by $400. Yeah, it most likely will, but I'm probably just going to go for the A7S Mark III and sell my Mark I. That's my game plan. Because I feel like you can skip every other generation of camera. So that way you don't buy a camera and waste your money every single year. Instead, buy it every other time it comes out. So I started at 1. I'm gonna go every odd number. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Those are the ones I'm gonna be buying. However, with the A7R Mark II, I'm gonna stay with that camera for probably 4 or 5 years. I'm not gonna get the Mark III or the Mark IV probably, because the Mark II, I should have still had my 5D Mark II, and that camera is still used professionally today, and it's just a phenomenal camera. And the A7R2 is also a phenomenal camera. Bad news though, I scratched up my screen pretty bad on my A7R Mark II. I tried using screen protectors. Honestly, they don't work. So I ordered a new LCD screen to replace the current one I have, so I'm going to be doing that myself, so hopefully I don't screw up. But after looking at iFixit videos, it looks like the replacement should be pretty easy. But hopefully, you know, I like a clean screen on my cameras, so I'm really paranoid about ruining the screens, so I'd rather just get it replaced with a brand new screen and just start from scratch, you know. But yeah, learn from my mistakes. Alvin Wolf says, looks like you've been hitting the gym hard, brother. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah. That's what keeps my motivation up, you know? That's what keeps my motivation up. Because in this industry, guys, people are going to annoy you. People are going to piss you off. And the best way I found is to go just get mad at the weights. Don't take it out on your parents. Don't take it out on your friends. Take it out on the weights, on inanimate objects, because they don't care, right? That's exactly what I do. And then I don't take out my anger on anybody because I take it out on inanimate objects, objects that don't really matter. So it's perfect. And trust me, you're going to get mad in this entertainment world. People are going to frustrate you. People are going to try and step on you. Instead of taking out your anger on them, calmly handle the situation and take out the anger on like a punching bag or something else, okay? That's the best way to release all that stress. But that's just me. Always find a release of some sort of release that can help you out with frustration or stress, just in general. That's my best advice when it comes down to that. Because in early high school days, I didn't go to the gym, and I took out my anger trying to pick fights and stuff like that. And stupid, very, very stupid of me, and it never ended well. So keep that in mind, guys. Take out your anger on something that doesn't really matter. Punching bags, weights. And overall, it's not, I don't work out because I'm always angry. I work out because it just, for me, it feels good. And I am releasing by next week, hopefully, if everything goes to plan, the first official glide cam workout. So I'm going to be showing you how to build stronger forearms, stronger biceps, and stronger shoulders so that you can handhold your gimbals for longer periods of times without needing a break or a rest. That way you won't get cramps either, because we all know how horrible cramps can get, right? So keep that in mind. That's coming, and that will be a lot of fun. All right, so we had a few questions coming in. Yeah. Okay, cool. I have the Zeiss 24mm for most crane work and the 90mm FE for macro and a tripod. Good. Also 50mm 1.8. Should I upgrade to the Zeiss 55mm as that lens is awesome for photo? How about for video? So honestly, there's not too much of a difference between a 50 and a 55mm. If you want that extra zoom, go into crop mode. I should be looking at you guys. Go into crop mode. Enter APS-C crop mode on your camera, and that will 1.6 zoom immediately. And you will still get really nice shallow depth of field, but not too much difference between a 50 and a 55mm. I wouldn't worry too much about it. You already have a 50mm 1.8, which is a really fast lens, and that should get you really nice bokeh. So don't worry about going from 50 to 55. However, you can go from 50 to 70. That's a significant change. But again, you don't need that because you have the APS-C option on those Sony cameras. So keep that in mind. High Flying Photography, thank you so much for donating. Thank you so much for your super chat, brother. Check out High Flying Photography. Check out the YouTube channel. Post your social media links so everyone can know where to find you. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it. Techno Extreme, replacing a scratch screen is not starting from scratch. It is with that new screen. I'm starting from scratch on that new screen, so yeah. Do you ever party to take the stress out? Not really. Not really. Honestly. Don't really party. I go to bars, but I don't drink. All my friends drink, and they all, and you know, I don't drink. I don't find it amusing. Plus, I don't want to gain weight. That's probably the majority reason why I don't drink. But yeah, the best way I handle stress is the gym. If the gym doesn't cut it, if I'm still like frustrated and like angst up, I go to the beach, I go hiking, I hit up a friend, and it's hard at times, you know, it's hard. The worst thing you can do is stay at home when you get mad. That's the worst thing, because when you stay at home, that anger still resides, that energy is still with you, and my best advice is to leave that environment and go out and do something new. So consider that. Really, really consider that. Have you ever killed a man? No, I have not. Interesting question. How long have you been shooting for on a pro or semi-pro basis? So it's 2017 now. I've been shooting for pro since 2012, so about 5 years. Yeah. Okay, Josh, I have a question to ask, but it will take a while to type. Please give me some time. No worries, brother. Take all the time you need. How do you manage sound using a gimbal? Very good question. So I have a mic called the Rode Stereo Video Mic Pro. I just put it on the hot shoe mount. Sometimes, you know, the Sony cameras, the Sony Alpha cameras have excellent microphones built in. So what you can do, you can buy these wind mufflers and stick them onto those mics, because while we move with the gimbal, you can sometimes hear that wind noise. So those will actually take out all of that, most of that wind noise, and you can use the in-body built-in microphones. So that's what I do with the Sony A7 cameras. The GH4 has a really bad microphone, so sometimes I put an external mic on the hot shoe mount. And sometimes, if I'm working with a crew, I have a sound person using my Rode NTG2 and my Zoom H6 recorder. That's how I get the crispiest sound and the best sound possible. I'm still having problems balancing my camera stabilizer. All right. What is your issue with that? Edward says, hangover, steal time, and steal passion, right? I always wanted to know what it's like to be drunk, but I am 17. Yeah, wait a couple more years, my friend. You'll get there. What is your biggest mistake in your job? Ooh, that is a very good question. So even though I'm a professional, I still make mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever made is not backing up my footage. And then what do you know? The hard drive failed and I was screwed. So what happened was I ended up compensating for that by giving the client a free shoot. Luckily, that client was really chill and wasn't a pain to work with, so he said, okay, that's fine. I gave him a free video. There's nothing worse than losing footage. However, if you lose footage from like a wedding or one of those types of scenarios, you're basically really, really screwed. I don't know what more you can do, because at that point, word of mouth would have gotten out about how your footage was lost and this and that and this and that. So as soon as you get home, copy your footage to at least 2 drives. 2 drives at least. That way you're set and you don't have to worry about stuff breaking down on you and not working. Next part was sound. I'm still not the best sound person, but not recording sound properly was another big mistake. Another big mistake was not properly setting white balance. Another big mistake was not having focus, not having proper focus. But focus and white balance, I no longer have an issue with. I have a checklist from now on. I know how to, I worked out those issues. I'm still having issues, however, with sound at times. I'm just not a sound guy, but I need to be, because I'm a one-man team a lot of the time. So sound is still pretty tricky. Okay, Mustaqim. I'm going to be shooting a video of my sister in her wedding dress. I can't decide if I should shoot on my DSLR or my phone. Dude, you can't even question that. DSLR, depends what DSLR you have, but usually DSLRs will outperform any phone that's out there. Sonic Palette, what's up, Sonic Palette? Shooting with Micro Four Thirds. What is the best way to get a real blurry background for an interview? I have a Voigtlander 0.095 aperture and still not happy with the fall off. So you have a very, 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 very fast lens. Now, if you want that shallow depth of field, a great thing to do is to zoom all the way in. If you have that zoom lens, zoom as far as you can. Keep the subject far away from the background. If you keep the subject far away from the background, you'll be able to easily blur out that background. If the subject is close to the background, you won't be able to see that depth of field. And this goes along for any other camera too. If you're close to the background, you will not be able to see a blurry background. So keep them far away from it. Mustakim says, my phone records in 4K, but I can't control other settings. Just because your phone shoots in 4K, it's not genuine 4K. It's not the same 4K that you can get out of a Sony camera. It's not, not every pixel is used. The sensor's completely different. It's a lot cheaper sensor. You don't, again, like you just said, you don't have camera controls. No, if you want a professional video done, you shoot on a professional camera, like a DSLR. You don't, I mean, technically, some people get away with 4K on their phone, but if you compare 4K footage from an iPhone and a DSLR, you are going to get completely different results, and you'll be shocked. Next question. Okay, great advice, Josh, on disaster recovery. I also need 2-drive copy technique. Saved my ass many times. Right on, Patrick. So if you guys don't want to drag and drop your footage to 2 different drives, I strongly recommend getting a program called Offload. It's a program that you can get from Red Giant. This program is phenomenal. What it does, it automatically copies your footage from your SD cards to 2 different drives. And on top of copying it, it checks the checksum of each file to make sure it's not corrupt. So that way you don't have to go through each file making sure that the files have been properly transferred. This program automatically does that. It checks the files for consistency and makes sure there's no error in these files. Patrick says, gotta go. Thanks again for all your drone video lessons. Really helped me out a lot in my drone biz. You're welcome, Patrick. Have you ever shot any concerts before? Not concerts, but live performances. So I've shot live performances, but they weren't in front of like an audience per se. I've shot just live music playing, and I made like a music video out of it. Too bad when you zoom in lens, the camera's not balanced on the crane. I wish there would be an easy way to fix that. Listen, on the crane, it's really simple. Still zoom in. The crane will compensate. It'll add power to the motors that need it. So you don't have to necessarily rebalance the crane when you zoom in or zoom out. The crane is smart enough to know when to add more power to each motor. So don't necessarily worry about that too much. What are your thoughts about circular polarizers for your lens? I love polarizers. They can help a lot with stopping down light, and they can help a lot with getting rid of ugly reflections. So if you have that option, use it. Really, like, use it. Excuse me, guys. I'm just getting back to somebody really quick. But yeah, while I'm doing this, guys, sorry, I'm getting back to a client here. If you had to get actors to play in your movie, how much is a good wage to pay them? So if you're on a low budget, pay them $10 an hour. I mean, that's low budget. Unfortunately, that's how it is. But it just all depends on your budget. When I was doing acting work, like basic acting, this was actually just being an extra. I got paid $10 an hour non-SAG. With a SAG voucher, I think I got paid like $13, $14 an hour. And the highlight of doing those jobs was the craft services. So eating all their food was probably my favorite part. Because they had like, if you get SAG vouchers, if you're considered SAG and you do extra work, they take really good care of you. Craft services have everything imaginable, like really high quality foods, and that makes me so happy. Will you be able to make a video on how to write a script for short film? I'm not a writer, so fortunately, no, I can't. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I'm not a writer, unfortunately. I wish I was. I'm just not good at writing. Um, it happens. Not all of us are writers. I can direct. Oh, I can direct the hell out of a film. I've been acting for over 15 years, so I know I can direct, but I can't write. That's just it's always English. Studying English was never a big thing of mine. I never got into like writing. I love poetry though, but that's besides the point. Um, Halvin Wolf says, I've been on the set of a couple side films doing makeup, and crown services are amazing. I think you mean the craft services. But yeah, craft services. Yeah, craft is honestly of that's honestly the highlight of working these films. How come Canon Pro shooters have a lot of critic on the low-light footage of the A7S II in night shooting? For me, it looks great, but is there any criticism built on something, or is it just disliking Sony? It's just disliking Sony. It really is. Canon doesn't have the sensor technology like Sony does. Sony's kicking everybody's butt right now with sensor technology. Canon just can't keep up. Yeah, that's just how it is. I was a Canon shooter for a few years, and I sold it to go to Panasonic and Sony. Just Canon was just too far back into the times. They weren't updating or upgrading their gear for very long time, so I just gave up on them and moved on. But I love Canon with all my heart. Sony just took me away because they're constantly staying on the game. What are your rules of thumb for shooting in log? The biggest issue I've come across with, and again, I fixed this issue of mine, when you're shooting in log, for example, when you're shooting on the A7S II, it's going to automatically bump up the ISO to the base ISO. So for example, the A7S II, it's going to bump it up to 3200 ISO, which is a very, very high ISO. So a lot of things might be blown out, and so I recommend shooting with some sort of ND filter. Also make sure that your white balance is set to manual and not automatic. The really nice thing about log is that even though things seem a little bit too blown out, or blown out just in general, most of the time they can be fixed in post-editing, because log captures more light data or color data than shooting in regular video mode. So be careful of pushing it though. We do have 14 stops of dynamic range. It's either 12 or 14 stops. I'm sorry, I don't remember on the Sony A7S. I think it's 14 stops of dynamic range. So you can manipulate light by 14 stops. But if things are blown out, no matter what you do, most of the time you probably won't be able to get that data back. It's just blown out. There's not much you can do. The A9, I've seen some freaking awesome things done with the Sony A9. Things were completely blown out and the images were recovered, but that's something I don't want to risk on the A7S. I haven't tested it, but I know I've had some highlights peak in my footage on the A7S in log, and I was still able to fix that with proper color grading, because I did get that proper amount of color data in. Mustakim, do you know how to lap audio between characters through switching scenes? Yes, I definitely know how to do that. But that's a tutorial video. I can't really explain it here without showing you what I do in Final Cut. Cinematic effect. I bought a 4K camera, Panasonic LX100, and went to film an abandoned place video on my Steadicam and totally forgot to change the white balance. And at the end, when I was editing, then I realized the shots were overexposed, and I'm learning from my mistakes. LOL. Yes, definitely a great experience. I hope that the abandoned place wasn't too far from you where you can't go back and reshoot. But yeah, definitely take your time when you're out shooting these things. If you rush, you're definitely going to run into some crucial mistakes. Masakim is asking, can you do a video on what is aperture, shutter speed, and ISO? Of course I can, my friend. Of course. Techno Extreme, if you had no Canon lenses and were shooting only Sony, are there any non-Sony lenses have to or do you feel that Sony, Zeiss, and Sigma have pretty much everything covered in E-mount? I feel like I would want to shoot on the 70-200 Canon L series lens. I feel like it's a fantastic lens. Then again, Zeiss makes that lens, the G Master 70-200. So I think when it comes down to focal length, we have pretty much everything covered with Sony and Sigma. So I'm not worried about that. If you had to choose making a film with a Sony FS5 or I think you mean A7S2, which one would you choose and why? FS5. I have never shot with an FS5 before, so I cannot. I have not. I've shot on a Red Epic, Red Scarlet. I've shot on Reds, but I've never shot on an FS5 before. If it was an FS7, I'd totally choose FS7. But FS5, it's pretty similar, but probably FS5 because of ergonomic reasons. The FS5 is more built towards video. The A7S is more built towards portability, photo, video type stuff. So FS5 probably when it comes down to like being in a controlled area. But if I'm traveling a lot and portability is a huge factor, definitely the A7S. That's my thought about that. Yeah. All right, guys, let's do one more question. We've been talking for 41 minutes so far. Fantastic. Very, very cool. Just checking something here. Very awesome. By the way, guys, if you haven't seen my latest video, I released it today. I'm comparing the G1 Crane gimbal versus the Glide Cam. Check it out. So check it out. It's a really cool comparison video. And then my next comparison video will be between two different electronic gimbals, the Came TV Argo and the G1 Crane gimbal. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. I want to thank you for the super chats. Thank you so much, you guys. You still have time to give me a super chat. I'll give you guys a shout out if you do. I'll help point people to your channel. So feel free to give me a shout out. Last question, Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro 10? For me, Final Cut Pro 10. So thank you guys again. And thanks again. Techno Extreme is asking, thanks, when are you going to be on next? I don't know. Again, this is like whenever I have free time, boom, I'll pop on here and talk to you guys. But it's really like, it's sporadic. It depends on my schedule. My schedule changes every day. So I really don't have a set schedule for these live streams, unfortunately. But eventually I'll try and make at least 1 day a week type thing where it's set in stone on when I'll be on the live stream. Edward is asking, please make more tutorials with crane shooting. You got it, bro. I'll definitely do that. All right, guys. Signing off. I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Have an awesome day shooting and an awesome week. I will talk to you soon. Peace. Bye, guys.